Redditors who have a job where they go into other people's homes, plumbers, electricians, etc. What's the weirdest, most disturbing thing you've seen while working in a customer's house? I'm a face painter who does children's birthday parties. I've never had any super sketchy experiences. Just a few rundown homes, but the kids always have fun. I went to one house. Kinda messy and smelly, but no big deal. I started setting up my supplies and I heard a weird peep sound above me. I look up to see a guinea pig running through a clear plastic tube attached to the ceiling. Then I take a good look around the house and notice the whole place is covered with a network of guinea pig tubes. The mom noticed me looking around and nonchalantly told me they have like 10 guinea pigs. Used to deliver oxygen to people's homes. Saw plenty of weird things. Lots of hoarders. But this one took the cake. He didn't want to let us into his house. But I had to do a home safety assessment before I could set up the equipment. He was anxious about letting me in because his house was mess. He kept telling me about his messy house. Come to find out, it wasn't just messy. It was filled with 200 chickens. He was proud of his show chickens and wouldn't let them live in a barn or cooperative. The smell was unbearable. Other than that, he was a super nice guy. Food bank delivery to homebound elders. I always fill 2 banana boxes, around 1.5 by 3 foot deep, of all types of food and deliver to his house. One time after delivering to him for 3 years I have to come inside because he hurt his foot. He had never thrown out a single box. They lined every wall and entrance. He built a castle around his bed. And a series of paths through his house. It was like thighs pillow forts you would make as a kid but with boxes. I asked him if he wanted help getting rid of them and he said no. That it was fun and helped with his dementia. He's super fun. I'm an electrician and I was troubleshooting a bad outlet in the bathroom of a former NFL player. I was taking all the outlets apart, following them to see if I could trace out the home runs when he comes in and starts talking football. We are in the middle of talking when he just walks over to the toilet and starts taking a I couldn't see him but there was just a little pony wall between us. He didn't even stop telling his story. It was crazy. I walked out because of the smell. He came out a little later and it was like nothing ever happened. I delivered pizza for about 2 years. I had to deliver to local motel pretty frequently. One day I go to deliver and a large lady, I'm talking 6 feet 0 inches 220, was decked out in dominatrix attire. She answered the door ready to get down to business, then immediately closed the door and threw a robe on. She apologized profusely and then tipped me $10 for the situation. Long ago I did estimates for fire and water damage repairs for a restoration company. This couple had a smallish fire in their bedroom. When I enter the home it's seemingly normal. Smells like smoke. There was a fire. Makes sense. They take me to the bedroom and it was the mattress that had endured the majority of the fire. Along with some of the wall above the head of the bed and smoke damage to the ceiling. Next to each side of the bed are 10-gallon buckets filled to the brim with cigarette butts. And hundreds of spilled over butts all over the floor. I was just in awe how they could live like this in their bedroom. Especially since the rest of their home seemed tidy and normal. Also completely beyond me why they wouldn't clean that shop after the fire if for no other reason than insurance, just as being able to blame them, rightly, and possibly not pay out. How did the fire start, I asked. Required to ask. No idea, the husband replied. Truly a mystery for the ages. I can smell that through my phone. My boyfriend is a locksmith. During the 2008 recession, Las Vegas had thousands of homes that were getting repoed or abandoned. The company he worked for would have him go and change the locks to keep people out. And usually this happened in the middle of the night to limit the possibilities of running into ex-owners of the properties. I sometimes tagged along. Mostly to explore some of the ridiculously big houses that people had just left. But helped some of the time. This one house looked totally normal from the outside. You couldn't tell any difference from any of the other cookie cutter planned development homes. But inside, in every room, there were those timeout dolls. If you have never seen them, they are a doll that stands against the wall with its hands up to its face. And even more creepy, usually they have no face. but they look like a kid hiding their face or pouting after being put in a timeout. When I say they were in every room, I mean every single room. And not just one, but dozens. Lining the walls. Not laying down, but standing up against every wall of the house. The house's electricity had been shut off, so all we had was flashlights. Walking into each room, it did not get less creepy seeing doll after doll. He is already afraid of dolls and this made it so much worse. Altogether we counted 63. But there might have been more. And now I know what I'm doing if I ever get evicted. Disturbing? Not at all. Weird? A bit. I was a medical equipment delivery guy for a couple years. Went into a dementia patient's house and had to instruct his caretaker on how to set up a large tank of O2. As I was kneeling down, my phone went off with my really low-key notification tone, which was a singular beep. Well, the pet bird nearby seemed to have taken a shine to that noise and mimicked it perfectly in tone and volume. The caretaker and I looked at one another with her saying, "I've been here for 6 years and he's never done that before." From then on, every time I delivered and knelt down to re-educate the caretaker, SOP demands it, that bird would instinctively ping me until I let my phone notification sound go off. After which the bird would celebrate by bobbing his head up and down and turning in a circle. I never had any interest in birds whatsoever. I mean, I didn't dislike them. I just was entirely ambivalent. Then my daughter got Peanut, a male parrotlet. Now I'm so hooked. They're like little drunk people. He's like 4 inches tall and he's so effing ferocious. I love him like he's one of my children. I mean, he's in the top 3 and I have 4 kids, so. Used to work pest control. Went into student accommodation to deal with insects. Can't remember what type. Carpet moths or bed bugs. Maybe? Anyway. That's not the point of the story. This one room is fairly clean. But we have to spray all fabrics with the chemical in question to prevent any eggs from having a safe space to gestate. So open up suitcases, wardrobes, that sort of thing. One suitcase is full of used tampons that she was saving for who knows what reason. Actually. And I don't want to know. Nastish. That. Didn't mention it. Just did the job and tried to avoid eye contact at the end. I painted a girl's room one time while she laid in bed and played on her phone and took naps. I knocked and expected her to leave, but she just laid back down. It was very strange. I did a carpet cleaning job with my uncle. He couldn't lug around the carpet cleaning equipment cause he'd gotten hurt the night before but had already promised this job would get done. No biggie. So I went along to help. He asked the owners to move heavy stuff around so he could clean. Dining room table covered with packaging labels. I looked behind the table. PRN movie boxes stacked on the floor. Tons. Go into master bedroom. Find a bottle of lube. Dildos and more movie boxes. My uncle shakes his head. I told them we were going to be everywhere. You think they are coming on to us? Biggest kicker comes when we go into the adult son's bedroom. Bong. More movie boxes and a rack of clothes by the bed. My uncle just shakes his head. Goes to grab the rack and like a mummy from its coffin rises a girl. From underneath the blankets on the bed. Half naked and casually walks away into the hallway. Inspecting an oven a tenant had complained was smoking. Yup. It definitely was. Tenant thought an oven could be used like an outdoor grill. Had been cooking meat under finet meat directly on the oven racks and all that glorious fat and grease just accumulated in the bottom of the oven and the little drawer underneath. For months. How he didn't burn down the whole damn building is beyond me. I also patched a bullet hole in a shared wall ceiling between apartments. One tenant let his girlfriend play with his loaded gun. She stupidly and accidentally fires it into next door neighbor's apartment. Neighbor was playing video games and didn't notice the bullet come through his wall into the ceiling. Had no clue until the gun-owning boyfriend knocked at his door in a panic and was relieved to see him alive. Hoopsie. Bunch of used pregnancy tests on the floor of a teenage daughter's closet. I didn't say a damn word to anybody. I used to do flooring, and when we had to get up the subflooring due to water damage, underneath it there was a black garbage bag. When I opened said bag it had a bunch of women's clothes in it. Didn't think anything about it until we dumped it out and found bloody ripped underwear and torn dresses. Told the owner we had forgot some stuff at work and wouldn't be back until tomorrow. Called the police and never went back. The house was soon up for sale a month or so later. Just read a post in another subreddit about a girl with social anxiety who hid under her bed when the plumbers came, and then the plumbers caught her under there. And then she ran and hid in the bathroom until they left. Wonder if those plumbers are on Reddit. I most definitely want to hear their side. Was a firefighter another time in my life. Had a middle of the night call to a mobile home for an elderly lady once. We walk in and it's dark, but as my eyes start to adjust I think, oh, that's weird wallpaper. I keep looking around her. It's on the ceiling too. Weird inconsistent patterns and rectangle shapes. Eyes adjust some more while we are talking to her. WTF? Are those puzzles? She had hundreds of puzzles that she had glued when completed and then glued them to every surface of her mobile home. Walls. Ceiling. Living room. Bedroom. Every square inch covered. Weird. But you do you. Was a carpet cleaner. PRN. So much PRN. You guys. Like. So much PRN. Probably the weirdest and most disturbing was the gay couple who had an entire room of framed photos of them in different positions and outfits and or various states of undress. They liked to watch while I cleaned that room. I kept my eyes low and didn't focus on any specific one or make eye contact with them. Just kept about my business steaming the carpets and pretended there wasn't anything unusual about what I or they were doing. Definitely a weird kink of some kind. My area historically has been very conservative and repressed. So I don't know, maybe that factors in. They tipped well, so I kept my mouth shut for the most part and just made sure when their address came up that I always got that job.